Night falls over Pattaya, and the streets come alive with an electrifying energy. Neon lights flash endlessly, reflecting on the animated faces of tourists and locals strolling through the organized chaos of the city. The sound of music echoing from various bars mixes with the roar of engines from motorcycles passing by in a hurry. With each step, there's a feeling of entering a parallel universe where everything seems possible. And it is right here, in the heart of this madness, that our journey begins. Welcome to SOI6, the wildest street of Thailand's nightlife. If you've heard of Pattaya, you know that the city is one of the most vibrant destinations in Thailand when it comes to nighttime entertainment. But while the famous walking street attracts crowds with its gigantic nightclubs and dazzling shows, SOI6 has its own charm, something more intense, more direct, and for many, unforgettable. Here, everything happens at a fast pace. The bars are side by side, practically glued to each other, and the atmosphere is always festive. Today, I'm going to take you inside this universe in an immersive way. We will walk through SOI6, feel its unique energy, and discover what makes this place one of the most talked about in Pattaya. Does all this fame live up to reality? Or is there a lot of exaggeration in the stories circulating online? There's only one way to find out. Right at the entrance of the street, you can already tell that the night here is not for the faint-hearted. The contrast with the neighboring streets is striking. During the day, SOI6 seems like an ordinary street with closed shops and few signs of life, but at night it transforms completely. The doors of the bars swing open, colorful lights dominate the landscape, and an endless flow of people appears out of nowhere. As we walk, you will notice that each bar has its own identity. Some focus on thematic decor, others stand out for their loud music or the exaggerated hospitality of the staff. Yes, because here, interaction with visitors is an essential part of the experience. But before we continue, let me warn you, this walk promises surprises. If you think you've seen it all, you might need to reconsider. So, stay with me until the end, because I guarantee this experience will be, at the very least, unforgettable. By the way, take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel and leave a like, because this type of content takes effort to produce, and your support makes all the difference. Now, without further ado, let's dive into the surreal energy of SOI6 and discover what makes this street one of the most fascinating and unpredictable places in Thailand. Following along at the beginning of SOI6, the first thing that catches your attention is the frenetic pace. There's not a moment of pause, not a second of silence. It's as if this street has a life of its own, pulsating in a continuous flow of people, lights, and sounds. If you've never been here before, you might feel a little lost in the first few minutes, not knowing exactly where to look. SOI6 is one of the most famous, and for many, one of the most iconic streets in Pattaya. Unlike the Grand Walking Street, which has a more globalized party atmosphere with luxurious nightclubs and tourists from all over the world, SOI6 maintains a more intimate environment, almost like a closed village where everyone seems to know each other. But don't be fooled, this place is far from calm. The history of this street dates back decades, when Pattaya began to establish itself as one of Thailand's major tourist centers. Initially, the city was just a fishing village, but everything changed with the arrival of American soldiers during the Vietnam War. Looking for a place to unwind, they transformed Pattaya into a leisure spot. Gradually, the small streets of the city began to gain bars and establishments catering to this new demand. SOI6 was born in this context and, over time, became one of the busiest addresses in the nightlife scene. But what makes this street so special? Besides the vibrant atmosphere, SOI6 has a unique characteristic. It reinvents itself every night. Here, no experience is the same as another. You can visit one bar today and have a completely different experience tomorrow. People change, stories change, energy changes. That's what keeps this place always surprising. Another factor that makes SOI6 special is the diversity of people passing through. Unlike other streets in Pattaya that attract a more specific audience, SOI6 welcomes a little bit of everything. From tourists who are in Thailand for the first time and want to explore the nightlife, to expatriates who have lived in the country for years and make this their daily meeting point. Additionally, it's common to find groups of friends looking for fun, solo travelers wanting to meet new people, and even couples who decide to stroll through here out of pure curiosity. What's most interesting is that despite the intense flow of tourists, SOI 6 still has a very strong local aspect. Many of the bars are owned by Thais who grew up in the area and have seen the street transform over the years. This factor contributes to creating a certain sense of community. Those who frequent the street often end up recognizing the same people and forming bonds, making the experience much more personal than in other tourist spots in Thailand. But if there's one thing that truly marks those who visit SOI 6 for the first time, it's the hospitality and warm approach of the bar staff. With every step, you will be greeted with smiles, waves, and friendly invitations to enter and explore the different establishments. It's impossible to go unnoticed here. The interaction between visitors and bar staff is part of the experience, and even if you're not interested in stopping at a specific place, the friendliness of the staff makes the walk down the street much more enjoyable. If you're wondering what the best time to visit SOI 6 is, the answer is simple: after sunset. During the day, the street is not very busy, and most of the bars only start to come alive in the early evening. From 6 p.m. onwards, the energy completely transforms, but it's around 8 p.m. that the place reaches its peak, with establishments packed and the streets filled with lively people. And so, walking through this spectacle of colors and sounds, we begin to notice the details that make SOI 6 a unique place. At each bar we pass, a new scene unfolds. A group of friends laughing loudly while toasting, a tourist trying to negotiate the price of a drink, a waiter rushing by with a tray full of glasses, someone dancing to the beat of an upbeat song. It's these small moments that build the vibrant identity of this street. Now that we understand a bit about what makes SOI 6 such a special place, it's time to dive even deeper into this experience. As we delve into SOI 6, the immersion becomes even more intense. If in the previous chapter we discussed the vibrant energy of this street, now it's time to explore the sensory details that make it a show in itself. SOI 6 is not just a place to see or hear, but to feel. Each sense is uniquely activated, creating an experience that can be both fascinating and overwhelming. The visual impact, a true show of lights and colors. The first thing that catches your attention when walking down this street at night is the overload of visual stimuli. The neon signs, scattered everywhere, flicker non-stop, alternating between vibrant colors like blue, red, green, and pink. Each bar tries to stand out with its own lighting, creating a hypnotizing effect. Besides the lights, there are the people, and what a mix of styles! Tourists dressed casually in tank tops and shorts, expats looking more sophisticated, groups of friends from different nationalities, and of course those who are already a bit loose after a few drinks. The bars, all practically glued to one another, have open facades, allowing you to see what's happening inside each one as you walk down the street. Some tables are positioned on the sidewalk, occupied by customers who watch the movement as if they were watching a show. Looking closer, you notice the small details that are part of the identity of SOI 6. A waiter balancing a tray full of drinks while skillfully dodging distracted tourists. A group of friends taking selfies and laughing loudly. A street food vendor preparing skewers on an improvised grill. It's these small scenes that form the chaotic and engaging visual mosaic of this street. The sound of SOI 6, a chaotic and contagious soundtrack. If the visuals are already overloaded with information, the auditory experience is not far behind. In SOI 6, silence simply does not exist. The soundtrack of the place is an explosive mix of different musical styles. Each bar plays something different, creating a chaotic but strangely harmonious sound competition. On one side of the street, an international pop hit plays. On the other, vibrant electronic music makes the ground shake. Further ahead, one bar bets on a rock classic, while another plays a Thai hit that excites the local customers. The result? A whirlwind of sounds blending into a single frenetic rhythm. Besides the music, there are lively conversations. Shouts from those calling a friend across the street, spontaneous laughter, and the sound of bottles being opened. For some, it may seem like too much information. For others, it's the perfect ingredient for an unforgettable night. The smell of the night, an exotic and unmistakable mix. The sense of smell is also constantly stimulated as we walk through SOI 6. The predominant aroma is that of Thai street food, wafting through the air from stalls selling grilled chicken skewers, portions of pad thai, and freshly fried seafood. The smell is irresistible, and it's not uncommon to see tourists pausing their stroll to try some local delicacy. But that's not the only aroma present on the street. There is also the sweet scent of cocktails, which mingles with the light aroma of cold beer served in tall glasses. Depending on where you are, you might even catch a hint of sea breeze coming from the nearby beach. And of course, there are those questionable smells that are part of any busy street. Sometimes a slight odor of cigarette or cigar smoke fills the air, along with the sweet and strong perfume that some people wear excessively. The result is a cocktail of aromas that transforms SOI 6 into a unique sensory environment. The touch and the tropical climate. The heat of Pattaya intensifies the experience. Another factor that directly influences the sensory experience of SOI 6 is Thailand's tropical climate. At night, the temperature remains warm and humid, making any walk accompanied by a light layer of sweat. Contact with people is also part of the experience. The street can become so crowded at times that you inevitably bump into someone as you walk. A touch on the shoulder, a friendly handshake from a local inviting you to check out their bar, or even that moment when you need to skillfully dodge a distracted group. All of this contributes to the feeling of total immersion. The overall sensation, a whirlwind of emotions. If we had to sum up the sensory experience of SOI 6 in a single word, it would be intensity. There's no way to walk through this street without feeling something impactful. Some visitors are immediately enchanted and feel they have found the perfect place to enjoy the night. Others may feel a bit overwhelmed by so many stimuli at once. Regardless of how you react, one thing is certain: no one leaves SOI 6 indifferent. This place has its own energy, something that grabs your attention and makes you want to keep exploring. Speaking of exploring, now that we have immersed ourselves in this vibrant environment and felt the energy of this street, it's time to take a closer look at the types of places we find on SOI 6, from themed bars to hidden restaurants. If there's one thing that makes SOI 6 such a fascinating place, it's the variety of establishments spread across its short length. Despite being a relatively short street, the density of bars, restaurants, hotels, and even unusual services is impressive. Each of these places contributes to the unique atmosphere of SOI 6, making it a true microcosm of Pattaya's nightlife. Now, let's explore the different types of places we find here and what each one offers to those who decide to venture down this iconic street. The bars of SOI 6, the soul of the street. Bars are undoubtedly the beating heart of SOI 6. They dominate almost the entire length of the street, side by side, forming a corridor illuminated by neon signs. The most interesting thing is that, despite being packed closely together, each bar has its own identity. Some focus on a themed environment with decor inspired by movies, classic rock, or even tropical styles. Others stand out for their loud and lively music, creating a party atmosphere that spills out into the street. There are also those that adopt a more laid-back style, perfect for those who just want to enjoy a cold beer while watching the crowd. Regardless of the style, all the bars have one thing in common: hospitality. It's practically impossible to pass by one without being noticed. The staff always greet visitors with smiles and animated gestures, inviting them to come in. This approach is part of the culture of SOI 6, and even if you don't intend to stop at a specific bar, it's hard to resist the friendliness of the staff. Additionally, each bar has its own promotions and attractions. Some offer exotic drinks, others have interactive games to entertain customers, and there are those that invest in live performances. The important thing is that, regardless of which one you choose, fun is guaranteed. Restaurants and street food, a strategic pause. In the midst of this bar scene and excitement, hunger can strike at any moment. Fortunately, SOI 6 also boasts a good selection of restaurants and street food stalls. The restaurants in SOI 6 typically offer a varied menu, ranging from traditional Thai dishes to Western options like burgers and pizzas. Many tourists prefer to try local food, and it's possible to find everything from a good pad Thai to fresh seafood. For those in a hurry or just wanting to snack on something while walking, the street food stalls are an excellent choice. Here you can find grilled chicken skewers, fried snacks, rice with pork, and even fried insects for the more adventurous. The irresistible smell of street food wafts through the air, making it almost impossible to pass by one of these stalls without feeling tempted to try something. The hotels and accommodations of SOI 6. If you're thinking of staying in Pattaya, SOI 6 offers some options for hotels and accommodations. However, it's important to understand that this is not the quietest area of the city. Staying here means being in the middle of the hustle and bustle 24 hours a day. The hotels vary greatly in price and quality. Some are simpler, offering just the basics for those who need a place to sleep, while others are more comfortable, with well-equipped rooms and additional services. Many of them are located on the upper floors of the bars themselves, meaning that the sound of music and street activity can last until late at night. If you prefer a quieter stay, it might be better to look for hotels on nearby streets and just visit SOI 6 to enjoy the nightlife. But if your intention is to fully immerse yourself in the experience, staying in a hotel right on the street can be a way to live the energy of this place to the fullest. Unusual services and curiosities. In addition to bars, restaurants, and hotels, SOI 6 also has some establishments and services that may surprise tourists. It's common to find convenience stores open late where you can buy drinks, snacks, and even personal hygiene items. Some small pharmacies also stay open at night, ensuring that any medical needs are met quickly. Another interesting detail is the massage parlors scattered throughout the area. Thailand is world-renowned for its traditional massages, and in SOI 6 you can find some options to relax after a lively night. And of course, like in any busy area of Thailand, there are always small businesses selling souvenirs and keepsakes for tourists to take home. Tips for enjoying the establishments of SOI 6 without falling into traps. Like any very busy tourist area, SOI 6 has its tricks and pitfalls. To ensure that your experience is positive, here are some essential tips. Check the prices before ordering. Some bars may charge different prices for unsuspecting tourists. Always ask for the price before placing an order. Prefer busy bars. Places with more customers generally have better service and fairer prices. Have cash on hand. Although many places accept cards, paying in cash can avoid surprises with extra fees. Be aware of common scams. In any tourist area, there are always stories of inflated bills or orders added without consent. Read the bill before paying. Be respectful and enjoy responsibly. Thai hospitality is incredible, but respecting local rules and customs is essential for a positive experience. If SOI 6 were just a street full of bars, restaurants, and hotels, it would not have become the phenomenon it is today. What truly brings this place to life is the crowd that frequents it. The diversity of people who pass through here every night is impressive. From curious tourists to expatriates who know every corner of the city, SOI 6 is a true cultural melting pot. Now, let's analyze the different profiles of people we can find on this street and how each contributes to the unique atmosphere of the place. Tourist, curiosity, and the quest for new experiences. Most people visiting SOI 6 for the first time are foreign tourists. Many arrive in Thailand already aware of Pattaya's reputation as one of the centers of Asian nightlife, but not everyone has an idea of what really awaits them on this street. Some tourists come prepared, having researched SOI 6 and knowing exactly what to expect. Others happen to stumble upon it without great expectations and are surprised by the chaotic and vibrant energy of the place. There are also those who have heard exaggerated stories online and want to see if everything is true. The groups of tourists vary widely. Young travelers, generally, backpackers or friends exploring Thailand and wanting to experience Pattaya's nightlife. Older tourists. Many come in search of nostalgia or to relive past trips taken years ago. Curious couples. Some just want to stroll and observe the scene, while others get into the mood and enjoy the experience together. Regardless of the profile, all tourists end up being impacted by the environment of SOI 6. For some, it is a cultural shock. For others, an unforgettable night. Expatriates, those who chose Pattaya as their home. One of the most interesting aspects of SOI 6 is the strong presence of expatriates, foreigners who have decided to live in Thailand permanently or for long periods. Pattaya in general attracts many expats, especially Europeans, Australians, and Americans. Some chose the city to retire and enjoy a lower cost of living in a paradise-like place. Others work remotely or have local businesses. In SOI 6, it is common to see expatriates who have become regulars in the area. They have their favorite bars, know the owners of the establishments by name, and always seem comfortable in the environment. The most interesting thing is that many of them are not there just for the nightlife, but because they have found a sense of community in SOI 6. For them, this street is a meeting point, a place where they can socialize, talk about their day, and connect with people who share similar lifestyles. Locals, the gears that keep SOI 6 running. No street in the world would have this energy without the people who truly make everything happen, the local workers. The Thais who work in SOI 6 are undoubtedly the soul of the place. They are the ones who provide the warm welcome in the bars, prepare drinks, serve food, and ensure that everything runs as smoothly as possible. Thai hospitality is one of the highlights of this experience. The workers in bars and restaurants are always smiling, warmly inviting customers and ensuring that the atmosphere remains lively. Furthermore, many of them speak several languages, at least basic English, which facilitates communication with tourists. In addition to the staff of the establishments, we also find other local residents who live nearby and frequent SOI 6 to socialize, work, or simply enjoy the vibrant atmosphere. The interactions between the different profiles of patrons. What makes SOI 6 so fascinating is how these different groups interact with each other. Curious tourists end up meeting expatriates who are already accustomed to Thailand and can provide valuable tips about the city. Expatriates make friends with locals and create bonds that last for years. Bar workers become familiar faces for those who frequent the area regularly. These interactions create an almost familial atmosphere where people keep returning to the same places because they feel welcomed. This sense of community amidst the chaos is something that few places in the world can provide. Curious stories. What can happen on SOI 6? Like any place of significant movement and interaction, SOI 6 also has its curious stories. Some are funny, like tourists who enter a bar just to take a look and end up staying all night because they were captivated by the environment. Others are unusual, like people who miss their flight back home because they decided to extend their stay in Pattaya after a lively night. There are also reports of friendships that started there and lasted for years, as well as stories of couples who met on SOI 6 and decided to stay together. However, like any place with intense nightlife, there are also experiences that may not be as pleasant, such as tourists who overindulge in drinks and lose track of time, or those who do not fully understand the cultural rules and end up in uncomfortable situations. What to expect from the crowd on SOI 6? If you're planning to visit this iconic street, you can expect to encounter a mix of cultures, different ages, and people with completely distinct stories. This is one of the most incredible aspects of SOI 6, the chance to meet new people, hear interesting stories, and connect with individuals from all over the world in a relaxed environment. But like any place with significant movement, it is always good to maintain respect. Use common sense and enjoy responsibly. After all, this diversity of audiences is what makes SOI 6 one of the most vibrant and unforgettable places in Thailand. Now that we understand who the people are that make this place happen, it's time to talk about the unwritten rules of SOI 6. In the next chapter, we will address the local etiquette, the best ways to enjoy the experience without hassles, and some tips to avoid uncomfortable situations. Now that we have explored the atmosphere of SOI 6 and gotten to know the crowd that frequents it, it is important to talk about something essential, the etiquette and curiosities of this place. Although SOI 6 has a laid-back vibe, that doesn't mean it's a territory without rules. On the contrary, there are behavioral norms that make all the difference between having a pleasant experience or ending up in uncomfortable situations. Some of these rules are cultural, while others are common practices in any busy tourist destination. Furthermore, this street is full of peculiarities that make the experience even more interesting. In this chapter, we will cover the best ways to enjoy SOI 6 without making mistakes and avoiding the hassles that some tourists face. What to do and what to avoid in SOI 6. Although SOI 6 is known for its festive energy and friendliness, there are certain attitudes that can ensure your visit is enjoyable for both you and the people around you. What to do? Be polite and respectful. The Thai people greatly value courtesy, so a simple smile and a polite greeting can make all the difference. Be open to new experiences. This SOI 6 is a vibrant and multicultural environment. Talking to new people and trying local dishes can make the visit much more interesting. Observe before choosing where to enter. With so many bars and restaurants available, it's worth walking down the street first and choosing a place that matches your style. Take care of your belongings. Like any busy tourist area, it's important to keep an eye on your phone, wallet, and other personal items. Respect local culture. Thailand has its own traditions and customs. Gestures like touching someone's head or pointing your feet at a Buddha image are considered disrespectful. What to avoid? Taking photos or filming people without permission. Many visitors want to capture their time in SOI 6, but not all patrons want to appear in photos or videos, being rude or disrespectful. Some tourists overdo their behavior and end up being looked down upon. The best way to enjoy SOI 6 is to maintain a friendly demeanor. Losing control with alcohol? Many visitors get excited and end up overindulging in drinks, which can lead to unpleasant situations. Knowing your own limits prevents regrets. Insisting on aggressive negotiations. While price negotiation is common in Thailand, it should be done politely. If a place does not want to offer a discount, pushing too hard can be interpreted as a lack of respect. How to avoid tourist traps in SOI 6. Like any popular destination, SOI 6 has some pitfalls for unsuspecting tourists. Being aware of these situations can ensure a smoother experience. Higher prices for foreigners. Some bars and establishments may charge higher prices to tourists. Asking for the price before ordering helps avoid surprises. Bills with additional items. In some places, there are reports of bills that include products the customer did not consume. Always review the amount before paying. Scams involving incorrect change. Some inattentive tourists receive less change than they should. Counting the money on the spot avoids this problem. Taxi drivers charging excessive fares. In Pattaya, many taxi and tuk-tuk drivers avoid turning on the meter to charge higher prices. It's best to negotiate the price beforehand or use apps like Grab. Tips for a smooth experience in SOI 6 to ensure your visit to SOI 6 is fun and hassle-free. Here are some tips that can help. Arrive at the right time. SOI 6 comes alive in the early evening around 6 p.m. and gets busier between 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. Those who want to avoid crowds can arrive a little earlier. Be strategic with your money. Withdrawing cash before heading out avoids additional fees at tourist ATMs. Moreover, paying in cash can facilitate negotiations in some places. Choose a bar that suits your style. Some bars are more festive, while others are quieter. Observing before entering helps avoid experiences that don't match your expectations. Wear comfortable clothing. The weather in Pattaya is hot and humid, so lightweight clothing and comfortable footwear are essential for enjoying the night without discomfort. Be aware of cultural norms. Thailand is a country with well-defined social rules. Showing respect for local customs helps avoid misunderstandings. Curiosities about SOI 6. Besides its obvious characteristics, SOI 6 has some curious aspects that many tourists do not know. The street looks different during the day. Unlike the vibrant atmosphere of the night, during the day SOI 6 is much quieter, with shops and a few cafes open, but without the same intense movement. Many expatriates frequent the street daily. Besides tourists, there is a large number of foreigners living in Pattaya who make SOI 6 their meeting point. Bars may frequently change management. As the nightlife market is highly dynamic, many establishments change management. This means that Songkran turns SOI 6 into a water battleground. During the Thai New Year, the street becomes a true festival, where everyone participates in a water fight with guns and buckets. Many visitors come just to watch. Not everyone who walks through SOI 6 is there to bar and actively participate in the party. Some tourists simply enjoy strolling around and soaking up the atmosphere. SOI 6 may seem like just another street in Pattaya's nightlife, but when we take a closer look, we realize that it has its own rules and curiosities. For those willing to explore, this place can provide unforgettable experiences, whether it's meeting people, trying local cuisine, or just experiencing a bit of what makes Pattaya so unique. We have reached the end of our journey through SOI 6, this vibrant street full of stories that are part of the heart of Pattaya's nightlife. From the moment we set foot here, it became clear that SOI 6 is not an ordinary place. It has its own rhythm, a unique atmosphere, and an energy that's hard to describe. Despite occupying just a block, manages to offer an experience as intense as any major avenue in the city. We observed the lights flashing and experienced the warmth of the tropical nights that were dark and silent. More than that, we got to know the people who bring this street to life, from curious tourists to expatriates who already consider SOI 6 their second home, as well as the local workers who ensure that everything runs smoothly with their charisma and hospitality. Now, it's time to take a final assessment of the experience. After all, the question many ask before visiting Pattaya is it worth it to visit this place? The answer to this question depends on what you expect from a place like this. If your intention is to dive into Thailand's nightlife and experience a more vibrant side of the city, SOI 6 can be a unique experience. It is not just a collection of bars and restaurants, it's a social environment where different cultures environment, SOI 6 may not be the best choice. Here, the activity is constant, and the experience can be a bit overwhelming for those who prefer more reserved places. However, even if nightlife is not your main focus, it's worth stopping by the street at least once to feel its energy and understand why it has become so iconic. Something interesting about SOI 6 is that no matter how much you plan your visit, there will always be something unexpected. It could be a conversation with an expatriate who has lived in Thailand for years, a street food dish that surprises you with its flavor, or even a simple stroll that turns into a memorable night. This unpredictability is what makes SOI 6 so fascinating. Unlike other more standardized tourist spots, each visit here can be a completely new experience. Whatever the reason that brings you to walk down this street, one thing is certain: you will hardly leave SOI 6 without a story to tell. Final tips for those wanting to visit SOI 6. If, after everything we've discussed, you feel like visiting SOI 6, here are some quick tips to ensure your visit is the best it can be. Don't go with the wrong expectations. SOI 6 is a place of intense nightlife, and the experience can vary depending on what you are looking for. Explore the street before choosing where to enter. Walk around a bit, observe the environment, and see which bars or restaurants catch your eye. Enjoy the experience without excess. Drinking in moderation and keeping common sense will ensure that the night is fun without any surprises. Keep an open mind. SOI 6 is a multicultural environment, and being willing to interact with different people can make your visit much more interesting. Remember to respect Thailand's cultural rules. Being polite and treating locals well will always make your experience more positive. After everything we've explored, it's clear that SOI 6 is not just any street. It's a meeting point where stories intersect, where each night can be different, and where Thailand reveals a side of itself that few imagined before visiting the country. If you enjoyed this content and want to follow more stories about travel, curiosities, and experiences around the world, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your comment below. Have you visited SOI 6 or do you want to? Share your thoughts. See you in the next video. Until next time.